Five, four, three, two, one. And guys, we should be live. Guys, welcome to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. See that awesomeness you're seeing on screen? Well, that is the work of our special guest today. You know who it is because it says it in the description. So without further ado, let me introduce Hoffman. Hoffman not only does a whole bunch of demos and homebrew stuff, well, a lot of that. He's brought games over to the NEO-GEO, stuff like Golden Axe Shinobi, Metal Gear to the Amiga, and also another format, as well as countless other contributions. So Hoffmans, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself to the people and say hello.
Hello. Yeah, my name's Hoffman. How best to describe me? I'm mostly known for doing lots of crazy stuff on the Amiga, whether it's demos or music, or making DJ software. And more recently, I've been known for making video games on retro platforms. Yeah, I like playing with old retro kit. I think it's pretty much the base of it.
That's why we're here. All on this channel, we're guys in our 40s and our 50s, and you know what? We just like to relive our childhood, right? We like to. Who wants a Switch 2? Someone was saying, "Are you going to get Switch 2?" I was like, "Well, no, because Nintendo are very anti-consumer. I'm keeping it old school." So I'm going to ask you a question, but before I do that, what I want to do is I want to load Golden Axe. So this is your version of Golden Axe that you have ported over from the Sega System 16 over to the NEO-GEO. Now, a question that I always get asked whenever I do a video on this or whenever I feature this stuff is people say, why the heck are you bringing this out for the NEO-GEO? Because it's already out for the Sega System 16. We've got it for the Mega Drive. We've got it on countless different systems. So why the heck are you doing this? Like, what is the reason? What is the logic behind it? So my answer always is, why the heck not? The other thing that I say is, look, people have got like arcade setups with NEO-GEOs in there. Now with a NEO-GEO, they can actually play Golden Axe on there. They can get a car. There's many options, but you tell us your reasoning behind it, because maybe people can understand there's more to it than just, you know what, I wanted to do it and this is why I done it.
Yeah, so I think you've touched on something there, which is like it is a driver. Right, is that I know people with arcade cabinets, I know people with NEO-GEO arcade cabinets, and of course a genuine Golden Axe System 16 board is going to set you back quite a bit of cash, right? So being able to put that into a NEO-GEO cab, whether you got a flash cart or whether you buy the cart from AliExpress or whatever, that's a nice bonus. But yeah, really the catalyst for these kind of things is it's just curiosity. So I've done a lot of programming on the Amiga in assembly, and other places. But what I really enjoy doing is understanding how these old retro systems work. What are their what are their benefits and drawbacks. If I can get hold of a development document of a system and it's got 68,000 processor in it, then yeah, I want to dig into that kind of stuff. So I mean that's the thing really for me is I grew up with these systems. I saw what a NEO-GEO was. I played one in the arcade when I was a kid, but at the time I never dreamt of like being able to like write software for the thing. But here I am, like however many years later, with enough development documentation and know how to just, all right, well, yeah, let's see what this thing can do. So for Golden Axe and obviously Shinobi as well, they were both. It's like I wanted to learn how the NEO-GEO worked, but also I had this idea of, well, is it possible to do a super accurate, in terms of gameplay, super accurate port in a really short amount of time? So like the NEO-GEO and the System 16 both use a 68,000 processor. So really, the code that is on both of those systems is effectively the same. Like if you take the code from a System 16 machine and put it into a NEO-GEO, at a kind of top level, it should work, right? You wouldn't need to change that much of it. So yeah, this was just these two ports were basically an experiment of, can I disassemble the original game far enough so at a top level I can change the graphics or change the code for the graphics, change the code for the sound, meaning all of the gameplay code still works. And that was kind of and it was, I was right, it did work. It was done like, I think Golden Axe was it took about 4 or 5 weeks to do in total.
But how long is that in hours? Because when you say 4 or 5 weeks, are you doing like 2-3 hours a day, or are you doing like 10 hours a day?
Well, obviously, you know, I've got a full-time job, so yeah, yeah, I'm pretty obsessive about these kind of things. When I start, like, I will, like, you know, most evenings I will be putting in like 3, 4, maybe 5 hours, depending. And then the weekend again, it's you know, there's another kettle of fish there. I could be spending like a whole Saturday and a whole Sunday. So, and we're talking like 12 o'clock till like 9 o'clock in the evening. So,
Oh wow.
So
Okay, so
it's a lot of hours still.
What we're talking, like maybe 100 hours of work to get like Golden Axe ported?
Probably, yeah, I think so.
Okay, now that
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things compared to like having to like code all of the gameplay code from scratch.
okay.
But yeah, also the other thing is that because I'm doing it via a disassembly, and the code just effectively works, it means that the gameplay is 100% accurate.
So
Like,
it's
there's
exactly the same as the System 16, like the way the enemies come in, the whole shebang. Like I don't know it well enough. Like I know Golden Axe. Like when I played Golden Axe in the arcade, this blew me away. This took my lunch money. This made me hungry. So me and a buddy of mine, Chris. So what we used to do is we were obsessed with arcade games. We used to bunk off school, go to the local chip shop. This was in there. We used to play it. And what we used to do was, so Chris's dad had money. So he used to buy lunch in school or outside. And I was one of those ones, you know, we got the lunch ticket, the dinner ticket. So what we used to do is it was worth like 70p or something. So I used to sell it for 50p to go and play arcade games. And we used to go Chris's house at lunch and get sandwiches. So we had like a whole plan. But when I played like I'm playing it now, right? It feels Golden Axe. There's nothing in here that makes me think, no, this isn't Golden Axe. Like for me, it feels exactly the same as a System 16. Like there is no difference to me. But I'm not someone that has the attention to detail. Like if there's a pixel out of place, or if this little dwarf guy that's giving you the potions, you know, if there's a slight difference there, I won't be able to tell it. But you're saying it's exactly like System 16.
Yeah, basically. So there's a whole bunch of people. If you look at the on the intro, there's a whole list of testers. A lot of these people have multiple different NEO-GEO systems. Some of them have got the System 16 board. Some of them can like you know, 1cc it. So
Right.
if there was anything seriously out of place, those guys would have spotted it. And they really tested it to the hilt. But yeah, most of the time there was like a couple of bits here and there that weren't quite right. But yeah, on the whole, it was just, you know, once the code and the data's in there and it's working correctly, like that's it. It's that, you know, because you're not changing anything. You know, the game logic to move the characters around the screen and do all the collision detection and all of the data that you know, describes where they come in on a level, how much health they have, like all of that is there in the code. I don't understand any of it because I don't necessarily need to. I just need to make sure that it works.
Are you sure it's accurate? Because usually I don't die on this, and I've just used my second credit on the boss. That was, you know, that never happened. So I think I'm questioning it right now. But hold on, I'm actually talking to you at the same time. There you go. I can't multitask.
Yeah,
so
that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. So yeah, this is
you,
bang on accurate.
You also need to check your soft dip settings as well. Make sure you're not set it to like super hard.
Oh no, I've just gone on with default. So have you got any plans for bringing any other System 16 games over to the NEO-GEO?
Not at the moment. No, there's so the NEO-GEO stuff was a bit of a side quest more than anything else.
Okay.
It's kind of popped up as how most of my projects happen is I think about something and think, oh, I wonder if that would work. I wonder if I could do that, and then dive into it for 4 weeks and then have a result at the end of it going, oh well, yeah, okay, yeah, that did exactly what I thought it. Basically, it's something that intrigues me that gets well out of hand.
Okay.
So
it's just like you want to know. It becomes an obsession, and to be honest, that's the best way a lot of successful people get on with stuff. You know, they get obsessed and they're like, yeah, I want to do this. And that's how we end up with NEO-GEO. That's how we end up. Sorry, for Golden Axe for the NEO-GEO. I just want to get one more magic and do the dragon before I kind of stop playing this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we check out some other stuff, because see, I found out now that the dwarf character, I never remember the names. It's always like the woman, the man, the dwarf, right? I know she's called Tyrus now, but we in the arcade, if you ever played this two-player, I don't know what it was like for you when you played it in the arcade, but for us it was always, everyone wanted to be her. Now everyone tells me the dwarf's the best character because he's the strongest, but we just loved that dragon magic, man. It was all about saving up for that dragon magic and just blasting it. It just looks so darn good.
Yeah, so for me, actually, back in the day, it was I was always the dwarf character.
Okay.
That's when I wanted to play. Now, to be fair, like when you've had this, like, and you've been testing it for, you know, days on end, like the character I most play is the first one that you can click start on. So,
which is Axe Battler, right? That's Axe Battler.
Yeah.
Got ya. See, the first time I played it, I did actually pick the dwarf. It's just when I saw that magic, I was like, nah, you know what? That dragon, because all the other magics are pretty lame in comparison. I mean, we're gonna do it now. Hopefully, I've set the right button for it. You people are dead.
Yeah, you want to wait for. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Love it. I mean, that was amazing. Seeing that in the arcade as a kid, and I get one little magic from the little dude there, right? So let's load up Shinobi. So we've got Shinobi over here, and again, same thing with this, right? Where you've ported this over, you've had it tested, so this is bang on accurate to the System 16 version as well, right? As far as where the
so
enemies pop
again,
out.
Yeah, in terms of like the gameplay mechanics, everything is exactly the same. There's nothing, you know, it's you know, there's so the thing is, when you do a disassembly, so basically what you're doing is you're turning the original code inside the ROM, which is binary information, you're turning that back into basically source code that you can then rebuild. But when you do that, you basically, nothing's labeled up, so you have to basically go through virtually like with a fine-tooth comb and like label stuff like this is the address where like the player health is, this is where the lives are, this is where the credits are, and it's like, you know, it's a huge amount of work. Yeah, with because this is the first one that I did. What happens is you get to a point where at a top level you can see. You label up stuff like, oh, this is where the game starts, this is where this is where that is. And you can see that there's all of this other code and data, and all it's got is just random labels that have got like a number against them and don't mean anything. But it's, you know, that I don't know which enemy that could be, but I know that it's one of them. So you just kind of pull all that in and then build it and then kind of hope that it works. And it does, which is odd. So...
Crazy. So if not System 16, then what have you got anything in mind? I know you've got something you're working on, which is Metal Gear, and you've given me a copy of the Mega Drive version, so we'll run that next. But what kind of future plans do you have? What do you want to tackle next? Is it anything that you think, you know what, I want to give this a go, I want to give this other system, like, I mean, I think the most popular ones and the ones people really like above and beyond anything else is actually the NEO-GEO ports of popular games. So is there anything else you'd like to bring over to the NEO-GEO? At the beginning, we watched your... I
mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to pull across. Basically, any arcade system that runs a single 68,000 CPU is fairly fair game. Because in terms of, like, you know, the process that I need to go through to get it done, that's what makes it quite a quick process. Yeah, so I did actually start looking at, there's a couple that I started looking at that didn't really go very far. So I started looking at Sunset Riders.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I mean, it's one of those, it was an absolute favorite of mine growing up.
So did you play that in the arcade? Because I played that on the Super Nintendo, not in the arcade. I mean, I'm enjoying the call we've got from Hottego. That's one of the calls he's released. Okay, that's fortunate, man. If I had that in the arcade, I felt that would have been one of my favorites, but that was a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, so for me, that was, I used to play that in the arcade. I absolutely loved that game. It's peak bonkers. It's almost peak bonkers Konami. I can't remember the one with the cows in is even more bonkers.
Moo Mesa, Cowboys and Moo Mesa. So
yeah.
I think Vertex working on the Konami hardware, So it's likely that we may be getting some of those games in the future, hopefully via Hatego, because Furtek does a lot of reverse engineering work. Hatego funds part of that work as well. So it's really nice to see that stuff coming out. I know the next one we're waiting for is just for the graphics chip to be implemented for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. So hopefully we'll get that in the future. Sorry, I'm just looking for Sunset Riders over here. Ah, here we go, just to run that. So okay, so if you were to tackle this, would this so some of the chips in this are similar, and is there going to be new chips that you're going to have to tackle for this hardware to bring it over to NEO-GEO?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in terms of in terms of arcades, there's obviously a central processing unit CPU. There could be two of those, but that's basically the core thing. So all of your game logic and everything that it's basically the main driver of the system. So if an arcade board uses a 68,000, a Motorola 68,000 CPU, that's an exact match for the NEO-GEO and the Amiga and the Atari ST and like basically a whole bunch of other systems. Like it's a really popular CPU. But then obviously game logic and stuff like that just kind of pulls in and just works. But in terms of anything that comes on screen or anything that is sound, so anything that's visual or audio, you'll need to do a conversion process in the middle of that. So, and you don't do that in the game. What you do is you have to understand how obviously NEO-GEO works to get graphics on the screen, and then you have to understand how say Sunset Riders works in terms of getting stuff on screen. And then you have to like basically find all of the graphics assets that are in a game and then convert them into a format that the NEO-GEO works, and then write code that will basically push that stuff onto screen. So Sunset Riders is I've had a quick look at it, and in terms of like most of it would just work on a NEO-GEO. The only stuff that is that will be a bone of contention is the sprite scaling. So both systems, obviously Sunset Riders has sprite scaling, and so does the NEO-GEO. The problem is that they do them in different directions, right? so
You're going to have to explain that.
Yeah. So on Sunset Riders, you'll notice that stuff enlarges, right? So it gets bigger. So it gets kind of blockier, right? And if you look at any NEO-GEO game, when stuff starts scaling, it just gets smaller. So that's what the sprite hardware can do. So on the NEO-GEO, you can have, say it's a 64 by 64 sprite. You can shrink that down to basically 1 by 1 pixel. On the Konami sprite hardware, it's the other direction. Like it can be a certain size and you can make it bigger. So that in itself presents like a really complicated challenge, because like, well, you know, one does it one way, one does it the other. So that's going to be obviously the biggest challenge of doing, you know, something like this.
Do you know what? That sounds dope. I look forward to it. I mean, with the work you've done on the Sega System 16, I don't doubt, you know, that you will achieve that. But let's have a little look at chat. So just going to say hello to the people in chat. Scalinio, Sniper Mike, Andiel, Happy Coding, Nico Clem, and Anime Otaku, Robert Crease as well. They're all saying hello to you. Anime Otaku's a big Metal Gear fan. So just for the record, when I set up the stream earlier on, I connected an 8-bit Do or 8-bit Do Ultimate USB-C controller. But then when you sent me the Metal Gear, I disconnected that one and I connected the 8-bit Do M30 to have the Mega Drive layout. So let's now go to the Mega Drive core. And let's run that now. So I did run the Metal Gear just to make sure it loaded up, because I remember you saying it wasn't working on a Mister earlier, and you might be able to get it working by the time the stream starts. And to be honest, you've done it in good time. So let's go Mega Drive. And you know what I've got to say? I love the fact that it's called the Mega Drive core now. Yeah, it was called the Genesis core, and it is the damn Mega Drive. You can never have a drive as good as a Mega Drive, right? And you know, when I hear it called the Genesis, it's like, no, you know, we have the American folk, and that's most of the audience on this channel, the vast majority. But it's the damn Mega Drive, man. You guys need to adjust. So
I think the key is, what did they call it in Japan where it was made?
I think they called it the Mega Genesis. No,
Yeah.
It was the Mega Drive, right? So there you go. And same as like the Super Nintendo. Let's play this. But the Super Nintendo, the nice shape, we got the Japanese shape over here in the UK. All right, it ran at 50 hertz and it wasn't as good as what the rest of the world had, but the shape was nice, right? But in the USA, I always found the USA Super Nintendo ugly. It's like they were driving the Super Famicom to America. It had a car crash, and they reconstructed it into these lumpy parts. So, so tell us a bit about Metal Gear. So this is the MX2 version, right? Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah. So the original. So there are, in terms of the original game. So the original very first version of Metal Gear. This is effectively the MSX2 version is the one that Hideo Kojima made. So it's not his first game. There's a few others on the MSX you'll find that he did before this, but this was like the game changer in terms of games. Like I think I read in an interview he was like, well, no, you don't just shoot things, you got to sneak about, and the people were like, but are you sure about this? Like, but yeah. So back in the 2020 when everything went to crap.
Or was that when COVID happened? Or did COVID happen after?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the COVID time. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so like a big thing for me was going to demo parties. I don't know if you've ever been to one. You probably should go if you like retro stuff. They're amazing.
So are we talking about like the demo scene parties, like the demos you're doing? Yeah. People do that. No, I never even knew they existed, man. But okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah. So obviously between 2010 and 2020, I'd find myself like popping to Europe quite a lot to go to these parties and made a lot of friends. And then obviously in 2020. It all stopped, and then I kind of, again, another one of those accidents where I found that someone had turned the entirety of the original MSX game into source code, a different processor, but turned it all into source code. And I just started playing with it, wondering, oh well, how does the MSX draw graphics? There's the graphics assets, and then I've suddenly realised, oh well, I've now got all of the maps of every room generating on the Amiga. Now I've just converted all of the enemies. Oh well, I suppose I should convert all of this enemy code. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm 6 months deep, and the game's starting to come together. It's another one of those. So originally, it's the MSX2 original, but I ported it to the Amiga, which means that the processor then becomes 68,000, I think it was 2023. I'd basically finished this in about 3 or 4 months. I'd ported it to the Mega Drive just because my boss, who's an ex-game developer, said, "Oh, you'll like the Mega Drive. It's all tiles and sprites." So, all right, well, that sounds like a challenge. So yeah, it was, the game's basically been finished for the Mega Drive since October 2023. And it's taken me this long to find someone to finish the music for me. So
wow, okay. I thought. So are you into sound production as well, or is it just the DJing?
No, yeah, I've got like a bunch of, I've had a bunch of tunes out. I think I've done 2 albums, and yeah, I'm in terms of music, I'm mostly known for, I guess, doing Amiga music, but no, I've done like a bunch of studio albums and had releases on record labels and stuff as well. So
oh, nice.
Yeah. In terms of music, that was like my first thing, but the coding kind of came in about 2010, and I started doing a lot more of that then.
Wow. So what was more difficult to code? Was it would you say it was bringing the MSX2 game over to the Amiga and then to the Mega Drive, or was it bringing System 16 over to the NEO-GEO? What is the one that you thought was more difficult?
Easily the original version of Metal Gear to the Amiga, because the processor is completely different. So not only do you have to learn the processor, you then have to basically look at the original source code, which is originally in Z80. If anyone knows what that is, then you have to basically convert that line by line to 68,000. So it's like,
how many lines were there?
I don't know. I don't count those kind of things because I think it would.
No, are we talking like hundreds, thousands, or like hundreds of thousands?
Probably thousands, I'd say. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be one of those guys that'll be like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, line 5, I've had enough. I quit.
Yeah. So it definitely was the harder one to do. To be fair, like I don't know if you got there, but Nightmare was So that's another Konami game, an MSX game that I brought to the Amiga. So in terms of Metal Gear, I started doing that because we're in lockdown. There was, couldn't really go out and do stuff, so I started,
I'm gonna load
dove
Nightmare.
into that.
I'm gonna load Nightmare. Is Nightmare on Amiga Vision so we can have that on screen. Now this might crash my OBS, but I figured out a way of
Here we go.
I think it just goes between 50 and 60 hertz. That's the reason OBS just spazzes out. But it's fine on the Analog Pocket. It's just on the MiSTer, because on the MiSTer it does swap like the hertz. But we'll go in there.
I tell you what that is. That's probably your capture card then.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm using the Elgato HD60S Plus. Well, quite a mouthful, but it seems to be okay. The only thing I have an issue with is the Amiga. That's the only thing I have an issue with. But I don't have the issue on the Pocket. So look, now it's even. I've got a message that's popped up saying, "Do you want to switch stuff?" And I definitely don't want to switch stuff midstream. So that, like, let's have a look. So that's probably going to crash it, but yeah, it has crashed. So what I've realized is if I just highlight my capture card, go to properties,
just deactivate and reactivate.
That's pretty much all I'm doing. Yeah. So all I'm doing is changing like the resolution FPS type to custom, and then just putting it back to device default. However, when I load the game, it's going to crash again, and I have to go through the same thing. But you know what? That's there. So so the game that you said, is it going to be under title under Nightmare?
It should be there, I think. Yeah, under K.
Okay,
yeah, it's K. There
we go. Yeah, is that so? Do you remember the TV show Nightmare?
Yeah.
So the cartoon at the beginning was epic. Like the game show was alright, but that cartoon with the knight on the horse and like oh man, I actually liked the bloody intro cartoon more than the actual show itself. It was so damn good.
Yeah, so this is a popular misconception, because there is obviously a game. You see, there's Nightmare, and if you go down one, Nightmare Konami.
That's your one. I've played this on the MSX, so I think there's someone you're familiar with as well, Vampire, because when the MSX core came out for the Analog Pocket, I kind of reached out to him and I was like, look, man, you are like Mr. MSX. So run me through what I need and what is good. And he gave me a list of games, and I'm sure this is one of the games that he mentioned on there. So Nightmare, hopefully it's gonna do something and load.
Looks like it takes a little while.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm interested now to know. Actually, you know what I'll do for good measure while this is happening, because even if it hasn't crashed, I'll just kind of reset it. Right. Okay. So yeah, that should have reset
it does go into interlace on that screen. So yeah.
It's just weird. So with Amiga stuff, I realized it when I did the first stream a while back. It just crashed. So I will do videos, and whenever I do a stream, just to keep things easy, I just do it on the Analog Pocket. And I used to have a really nice like front end on my old PC. Actually, I've still got it on one of my laptops, but I haven't put it on the new PC. But the thing that I found with the Amiga is there's a lot of input lag on software emulators. Like there's quite a bit of it compared to obviously the MiSTer. So I kind of stopped playing it on like my PC, just simply because of that reason. Right, let me press a button. Oh, okay, I had to press a button.
Oh,
yeah,
that's it. Nothing to do with your video capture.
I know.
Added that in.
There you go. Right, okay. Wow, okay. So when you did this is obviously like a whole new intro, because, or is this a direct MSX like version of the game?
No, this is so with Metal Gear, it was an MSX2 game. So in terms of visuals, it wasn't up to the same standard, but it was close enough. And also, Metal Gear is such a revered game that you don't really want to mess with it that much, right? Because it's it's getting that fine balance between how many pitchforks you might want, right? So if you port a game across, then you change the graphics. Like then the people that are purists are like, you can't change the graphics. That's it's a legendary game. How dare you touch it? And then in the same vein, if you bring a game to the Amiga and you don't update the graphics, then people get upset with you, right? Because you're like, well, that's not an Amiga game. Why would you not update the graphics? So with Metal Gear, I left it as is, mostly because it is a really popular game, but also it was quite complicated in terms of how stuff worked, so I didn't really want to mess with it that much. This, on the other hand, is an MSX1 game, so the sprites are actually really feel like they're really quite basic, and also the backgrounds, because it's limited to like a single 16 color palette. A friend of mine, Tony Galvez, is a graphic artist and also a massive lover of MSX. So I showed him, like, I've disassembled the original game, I've recoded it all, like all the games working. This is what it looks like with the original graphics. And then over a period of like a few months, he gradually just replaced all of the the actual level graphics and then all of the sprites until like we got to a point where like it looks, it's a full 32 color Amiga game now. So so it was a lot more work than for someone else in terms of this to actually do the graphics. But yeah, so that's why this one looks very different. But again, it's that process of ensuring that the original game code is basically intact in a way. So if you play this, the gameplay on it is virtually identical. There are a couple of minor changes here and there, and also a couple of additional Easter eggs that you can find. Again, it's that thing, like how the core gameplay works in terms of the enemies, the collision detections, everything is effectively exactly the same.
It looks great. It looks great. One thing I wanted to mention here as well. We got Anime Otaku, right? So Anime Otaku does really, really good wallpapers, and I'm going to request Anime. Is there any chance we can get, since you're a fan of Metal Gear, can we get a Metal Gear conversion like Mega Drive or Amiga 1, but can we get Hoffman wallpaper that we can add to the Mr. repository? Because I think that would be a nice thing for people to cycle through. So he's done my wallpaper, man. My wallpaper is banging. Let me bring it up. I kind of have it in the background on the streams. It's disappeared. There you go. That's part of it. Robocop's
nice.
Robocop's on the right hand side. He's covered there. Let me bring Robocop out a bit. There you go. Look. Da, 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 da. All right, go back in hiding, Murphy. I just actually finished watching Robocop 1 and 2, man. I had nostalgia for it. So, Anime Otaku is on it. So we're going to get a Metal Gear Hoffman conversion wallpaper for the MiSTerFPGA. So, and Anime Otaku's wallpapers are available via update tools. So, yeah, if you've got them turned on, you'll get one. And the guy works fast. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this stream ends, he does the wallpaper. And if you do it while the stream's going on, you can send it to me and I'll actually display it on stream. So I think that'll be a banging wallpaper. So tell us a bit, let's have a look at some of your other games. So you've got a demo, I know you've got some demos on the Amiga, Vision. So let's have a look. Someone's saying to swap the buffer from 2 to 1, maybe that will stop it from crashing. But you know what, without looking into it now, I'm just gonna go with what I know works, which is this, then this. Right, here we go. And right, that's worked. So is there any other games that you ported we can have a look at, or shall we have a look at some of your demo scene stuff?
So the other one's Seekanoid. You won't find it in there because it's actually a commercial release.
Okay.
So that was a game that my friend Gareth Noyce made. It's effectively like a game built in Unity.
Okay.
But the aesthetic of it is basically it's like 2 colors, so it's basically black and white with a little splash of red. After doing these 2 MSX games, obviously when you port a game that belongs to say Konami or Sega or whatever, you can't charge for it, right? and you could, if you touch anything.
Sorry,
Nintendo,
that's your demo, isn't it? That is
yeah.
Let's run that while you tell us about please continue.
So doing obviously ports of like Konami or whatever, there's no license there. You're just basically, it's a bit of a wild west, right? Obviously if you touch Nintendo, you'll probably get the lawyers around.
Dude, don't say that. I don't want the stream to end, please. They're at my door.
So after doing 2 MSX games, or 2 Konami games, more to the point, I wanted to work on porting a game that I had permission to do so. So Gareth's a friend of mine, so I asked him, looking at Seekanoid on the PC, I was like, well, that's only like 2 or 3 colors. I mean, that should be super easy to do on the Amiga. The issue was that I didn't quite understand just how complex some of the mathematics and collision detections underneath would be to port. But yeah, the main purpose was that I wanted to bring a game to the Amiga that, one, didn't exist, on the Amiga. That's always the kind of the process. If it doesn't exist already, then yeah, you know, it's fair game. I want to pull it across. Yeah, it's mostly because I wanted kind of permission to do it. But yeah, so that ended up being released by Thalamus. So I don't know if you ever had a C64 when you were growing up. Commodore 64.
I had that. I went on from the Atari 800 XL to a Commodore 64. But when you finish this, I'm going to tell the story of how I got my Commodore 64 because it is nuts how I got it. But go on.
So yeah, so I obviously grew up with the C64, and obviously, you know, if you had one, like, you knew who Thalamus was because they basically released the best games. So yeah, so it turns out that you know, however many years later, they're actually publishing and releasing retro games now. Kind of a slightly different incarnation, but you know, still Thalamus at the core. Yeah, so it just turned out that it ended up being a a commercial product. So it took like a year and a half to do. But yeah, you won't find it in Amiga Vision because, you know, quite rightly, like, they're not putting modern retro game releases in their free download. So,
Okay, that's good. They're trying to stay as much above board as they can. You know, they don't provide anything that has copyright thing. They provide you to a search to it, so they're doing a really good job. I mean, I absolutely love the front end. So I've told this story before about the Commodore 64, but it's an entertaining story. So what happened was, I had the Atari 800 XL. My uncle gave it to me when he upgraded to his Atari ST. He used to give me one game a week out of his collection, and I really liked it, but I really wanted a Commodore 64. So there was a guy, I remember, like, back in, so this would have been in the 80s, right? Late 80s, possibly. You know, like, before internet and everything, there was a community. You knew everyone on your road, and you know, when you went out, they knew that's that person's kid, and that's that person's kid, and everyone kept an eye on everyone. So there was a guy that lived in these block of flats at the end of my road. His real name I won't mention, but his street name was Tifos, and there was two reasons he had the name Tifos. And right, let me run something else while we do that. Right, anything? Is there a favorite Amiga game that you have that potentially has a good either, or have you got anything else in demo
oh yeah,
scene?
if you go to hang on, just go to, where's the demo scene
Hey,
section? I
I'm
can
here.
see it
Demo
there.
scene here, and I can go by title.
That's it. Yeah, just go by title. Just go for just go under numbers.
Okay.
So demo scene, and it's got 0 to 9.
Oh, okay. Zero. Have they got 0 to 9? Yeah.
Oh, why is it? It's not. I can't. Oh, it's not
Oh,
updating on my side.
oh
It's
no, oh
frozen
yeah,
again.
sorry, yeah, I can. My bad. Let me give it a little shake. I know people are giving me solutions, but you know I'm not going to do it midstream. I just got to remember to do this.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Which one was it? Was it Nine Fingers? You said.
Oh no. Oh, it's not there. Oh, that's annoying.
Ah, okay.
I'll put 242 on. It's not mine, but that'll do.
242 wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. All right. Let me.
242. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
was it a different one?
I
That's
oh,
fine.
that's fine. Yeah.
No, I'll go. We'll
Oh,
do a reset, and we'll do a reset of the capture card as well. Right. Okay. Device default. Okay. So, oh, that's crashed again. And I might as well leave that window open, honestly. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna go demo scene, and then we are gonna
hang
go.
on. Before you go, hang
Yep.
on. Music discs by title. Go to there. There we go.
M-
Music discs by
Is it?
title.
Oh, okay. Music's discs by title. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. And then go to, yeah, top one.
Yep.
And there it is at the bottom. 8-bit jungle. There you go.
Wicked. Are we gonna get some Junglist Massive here? Right.
You will, yeah.
Oh, wicked. Wicked. Oh, wicked.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So this is yeah, this is a music disc that so if you for your viewers, if they don't really know what the demo, oh, that's annoying, isn't it?
Oh, is it not? I've got a mouse in. Okay.
Yeah, no, it seems that Amiga Vision hasn't sorted out their files on that one.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
yeah. Oh, that's
Let's
annoying. Never mind.
let's let's find something on there because I want to finish this C64 story. Okay, so okay, let's just bring that here a sec. Right, okay. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, custom. device default. Okay, and right, let's go. Let's go demo again. So demo scene, and
Yeah,
let's
let's
find
chuck on
something.
that.
Go on, pick anyone.
Yeah,
What?
let's
Pick one
go.
that you like.
Oh, well, actually, demos 1 to 64K,
Okay.
and then scroll down. Hopefully, just go to W. There it is. Way too rude. Go for that. So yeah, this is
It's not way too rude, is it?
this
We
is
are
one
a
of mine.
family-friendly channel, yeah. Like I'm not all of a
Oh
sudden.
yeah, no, don't worry. There won't
Yeah.
be any boobs.
All right then.
You'll be
Cool.
fine.
Cool. I mean, I'm disappointed, but I'm also happy at the same time because I do like boobs, just not quite on the channel. Right. Okay. Let's go. Hopefully that's in there. Right. So going back to the C64 story now. So this guy called Tifos, and the reason his name was Tifos was one, because he had broke up teeth. Like his teeth were just pointing out. It was like from when he was a baby, his dad opened beer bottles on them and they were just hanging up the front. And the other reason his name was Tifos was it had two meanings. He had bad teeth and this guy was a thief. He stole anything. So all of a sudden I'm playing in the front garden with like one of my best friends, a guy called Paul. And somehow we find out him and his boys are trying to sell a Commodore 64, and I really wanted it, man. And it was £60 at the time, which was a bargain price. And I begged my mum. I was like, Mum, this is worth like 200. I don't even know how much it was worth at the time. And and this is why even to this day I'm so close with my mum. Like, she saw that my desire, that I wanted this so badly, and we didn't have a lot of money, and somehow through her savings she got out the money. She gave me the £60, and I had the Commodore 64. So I'm sure it was stolen from somewhere because this guy was a thief. But at that time, honestly, I just wanted the Commodore 64. It was irrelevant to me. So that was my C64, man. It was a life of crime out there, man. I was young, but
yeah, you don't get a Commodore 64 even today for 60 quid. So
well, now everything's gone up. Anything in good condition, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how much the price of things are these days. So tell us a bit about this. So this is one of your ones. I mean, I like this stuff. It's very relaxing. It's very ambient. And it almost feels like you go out to a club and you don't want to have the screens up and you're just looking at that while you're in a different state of mind.
yeah. So this is it's called Way Too Rude. So it's a demo for the Amiga for the Amiga 500. And everything you see is encapsulated in 64 kilobytes. Like the whole thing, like all the music, all the graphics, all of the code, is not bigger than 64 kilobytes. So to kind of put that into like modern terms, a thumbnail is bigger than that.
Oh wow!
So
that's nuts. I mean, I just heard like a spin back rewind there, which that sounded banging.
Yeah.
Like I love that. So someone just mentioned in chat that you not only like are you known for like the homebrew stuff that you do, the music, but you've DJ'd with two Amigas. What the heck? Tell us about that, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, another one of the another one of these projects that kind of gets out of hand. That started with a friend of mine posting on the English Amiga board, saying just like a question like, can so if you know on the Amiga you've got Pro Tracker modules, right, or mods, right? Which
I only knew the only program I knew was Xcopy. Nothing else.
So on the Amiga, you have these music files called mods, and basically a mod has all of the samples and music data to play music on an Amiga. And someone said, obviously you can load that onto your Amiga, you can play it, and it'll only play it at one speed. And then someone on a forum was like, well, is it possible to change the speed of the music, but also pitch all of the samples up and down so that everything stays in time? I was like, well, that sounds like an interesting challenge. And yeah, kind of off the back of that, once that base was working, we then went on to add basically all of the functions that you would need for actual DJ software. So, obviously selecting files and nudging and pulling back, like you would on a Technics deck or whatever. Like when you push it, you press a button to increase the tempo a little bit for to nudge it forward. So and
you
backwards.
had like obviously you had pitch control on there. And a question about pitch control: did you have numbers telling you the beats per minute, or did you have to like do it by ear like on a classic Technics?
So it's a bit of both, right? So most Amiga tunes will have a BPM to them, but sometimes they're written in a way where the BPM is effectively a factor out, like and I mean massively. So so yeah, at most of the time, like they are right, but some of the times what it's reporting is definitely not what the BPM is. So you still have to, in some cases, you do still need to know. All right, well, I have to do this manual. I have to, go by ear. But yeah, in terms of if you've got two tunes that are like, if you've got a tune that's 125 BPM and one that's 130, if you set the other one to, 130, when you hit play, you still have to nudge it into place so it's in the right place, but it will stay locked if they're both at 130 BPM. They're both running at exactly the same speed. So yeah, but it's one of those. It's again another thing that kind of got out of hand, and then the next thing you know, you've got a fully fledged piece of DJ software for an Amiga, and that's literally what it does. You can like dump loads of files on loads of music files onto an Amiga, and then you can, or two of them, more to the point, and then you can just basically DJ with them. So it's kind of imagine like you just had a bag of records. It's basically the same thing as that.
Well, next question here, right? So, like, when I used to do pirate radios and I used to do the clubs, there was like a bag of records I used to carry. Now, ideally, for a very light set, I used to try and take 30 records, but I used to try and take vinyl with maybe like 2 or 3 good tracks on there. But then sometimes you'll get some hot presses, some dub plates that only had 1 on there. Usually I'd have 60 records with me, and lagging those around from a pirate radio station, then out with me, then to a club was a painful process. Now, did you ever take 2 Amigas to a club?
Not back in the day, but I have done since.
Okay, wow.
But yeah, again, like I mean, it's mostly like retro events that have a like an after party or an evening thing. So there's an event in the UK called Kickstart, which is like an Amiga Expo event. So there's lots of talks. You can buy new hardware. There's presentations and stuff. But in the evening they have like a club night where they'll have various different acts. There's someone called Paulie who does like a live set with singing, but like has got like an Amiga 4000 on stage or whatever. So yeah, I played at that. And I'm playing so there's an Amiga 40 event in Germany. I'm probably not supposed to say, but I've basically been booked to play that. But it's not been announced yet. So
don't worry, we only have a small audience here. Actually, I'm not even checking the stats. Let's see how many people we've got watching. I've got kind of okay. We've got we've got 44 people live on air.
Hey.
Well, hello everybody, how you doing? So this is fun. So I've just run a NEO-GEO game. So let's talk about some of your favorite games. I can load something up via emulation, but if they're available on the MiSTer, like your favorite NEO-GEO games, let me know what they are and we can run some of them, and you can talk about some of your stuff.
I'll be honest, in terms of NEO-GEO, I'm not that familiar with the games because I've only recently got into the NEO-GEO.
Okay.
Obviously the best game that they have by far is Neo Turf Masters Big Tournament Golf, but
well, I always say that is the best. That's the best golf game. It's the
pinnacle of golf games. It is.
Right?
There's never going to be a game better than that in terms of golf.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, often I'll always say it's down to your opinion, but in this one there is no opinion. This is
no,
fact.
No.
If they took it to the lab, if we got a bunch of guys in white coats and they had like all different meters with them and they ran stats and they ran focus groups, this game would come on top. It is just without a doubt the best golf game out there. Nothing. I mean, I think the one on NEO-GEO Pocket is quite good as well. So that might be the second best one. And all you guys that are playing your EA Tiger Woods, boo, get out of here, man. You're in the wrong place. Like, this is about Turf Masters. I mean, look at the damn intro, man. Just the intros for NEO-GEO games. They are just epic, man. I mean, I remember being a kid and seeing like of the Neo-Geo and seeing the prices of the games and thinking I'd never afford one. And again, a story that I've told on stream, I'll make it quick. But so you remember CEX, right? So I'm sure you've got a CEX near you. So before it was CEX, it was Computer Exchange, and we had a few of them around London. I think they may have branched out a little bit further. So what I was always in there. And one thing that like me and my friend learned, and it was a little bit of a scummy thing to do, but we were hustlers when we were kids. So we used to hang around Computer Exchange, either the one in Whitfield Street or Rathbourne Place. And then when someone used to come in to sell something and they didn't have ID, what we used to do is we used to follow them out. So there was a guy in there selling a Neo-Geo. I must have been like 13 or 14 at the time. And he didn't have ID. So he's pleading. He's like, look, man, I need to sell this. I need the money. I haven't got ID. And they're like, look, we can't take this without ID. So I followed him out. And at this time I had some savings. I had like maybe 70 or 80 pounds saved up. And the Neo-Geo, and it had like a couple of games. It had a Fatal Fury game. I can't remember exactly which one. It had like a Ninja Combat and possibly a third game that I can't recall right now. So we followed him out, me and my friend Paul. And I was like, look, I'll buy that Neo-Geo off you. And I said to him, look, please come to my house. I want to test it and I want to try it. So I'm 13 or 14. I've come to my house and I've brought a grown-ass man to my house, man. Like, I've just turned up at my house with this dude and I've come in. I was like, yeah, don't worry. I'm thinking, what the heck is going on, man? Is this guy grooming him or whatever? I've no idea what she's thinking. And I tell her, Mum, like, I need like whatever it is, like 30, 40 quid. I really want to get this. And somehow she gave in, maybe just to get rid of this guy out of the house, thinking we're going to get robbed or something. So she gave me the money. I bought the Neo-Geo, loved it, played it for a bit. I only had one joystick with it, so I never got around to playing 2 players on it. I played it for a bit, and this is the thing. Everyone always mocks me for this, and sometimes I wake up at night and I cringe about this, right? But when the 3DO came out, I really wanted to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo because I'm a big Street Fighter fan. So I traded it in and paid money on top to get the 3DO. Oh, the other game I had was Samurai Showdown, and I got that for the 3DO as well. And that's one game where, for the time, the zooming in and out just looked amazing. You had nothing like that on home consoles. When you looked at that, it just blew you away on the Neo-Geo. But that was me with the Neo-Geo. I had the Neo-Geo, should have kept the Neo-Geo, but swapped it for a 3DO, which ultimately tanked.
Yeah, betting on the wrong horse there, unfortunately. But I bought an HD DVD drive for my Xbox 360, and then a week later they announced that they were dropping the format. So
Yeah, imagine that, man. Is that actually worth anything now? Is that still as dead as it was then, or are like HD DVDs worth something now because there wasn't enough of them and people are collecting them?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure anything that was on HD DVD is now available as Blu-ray, so it's probably not. But I haven't looked into that. I was up in the loft looking for my Mega Drive today, and I found a pile of HD DVDs that we obviously didn't do anything with. So maybe I should check on eBay, see what they're worth.
Yeah,
So,
you'd be surprised.
People buy Laserdisc players now, don't they? So
everyone's in terror. I think Smoke Monster on Blue Sky was posting that he paid like $1,200, I think, for a Star Wars holiday special. So he said he's sent that somewhere to get ripped into 6K or something. That sounds interesting. So I guess there's room for everything out there.
Yeah.
So right, okay. So what consoles or what computers did you kind of like growing up? Like, is there stuff on the Mega Drive that you liked? What was it that you played?
So I mean, back in the day, my history is basically my dad was the proponent of computers in our house. He loved science, and had his finger on the pulse. So when the ZX Spectrum arrived, like, it was in the house like straight away. And then, like, I think it's probably about a year later, he then upgraded that to a C64, which he eventually donated to me. And then he was the first person to get an Amiga, which he eventually donated to me. And then he's the first person to get a Pentium PC, which he eventually donated to me. So
like, that sounds banging, man. The only computer or console my dad ever bought, and I think it's still kicking around somewhere. I think it was called a Binaton or something, and it was the one where it had Pong and variations of Pong. So it had tennis where you're one saddle on each side, and it came
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
the little paddle. Then you had football where you're 3 little lines on each side. Then it had squash where you're 2 lines on one side. To be honest, it was very addictive. It was very fun, and that's as far as it went. So that sounded awesome. I had a few friends like that where their dads were into stuff, and I have to say, with the Spectrum, I absolutely love the Spectrum. I never had one. But a lot of my friends had one, and I always wanted one, because even though I had the Commodore 64 at the time, and I think that's the better machine, it definitely looked better, the visuals and everything looked better, but man, Spectrum in the UK just had so many games for it, man. You could get games cheap for it. I remember playing R-Type on the Spectrum, and I was blown away by that, man. I thought it was freaking amazing, man. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, it's a crazy machine. That it's like yeah, the C64's got like a stack of custom chips. You know, the SID chip is that, you know, it's a sound chip with so much character, like you can hear it a mile off. But the thing about the Spectrum is that you have to be a really good programmer to get anything remotely speedy and good out of that thing. So yeah, I suppose it's you know, in terms of British game development, it's probably what pushed us in terms of a nation like really forward, because you've got this machine that's suddenly in everyone's house, right? Because it's dirt cheap, and you know, it ends up being under the Christmas tree at Christmas, and yeah, then it just, you know, it's just spawned off this entire kind of cottage industry of video game developers, which is crazy. So yeah, so yeah, so we went from like through all these different machines. I mean, in terms of like games that I would consider, you know, ones that really, you know, had an impact. I think probably one of the biggest ones is probably Flashback.
Ooh, okay. Let's get a version of Flashback on, because I'm gonna put a console version on, but Flashback is wicked. Now, I played Prince of Persia and Another World more than I did that. Flashback is bloody difficult, man. I remember I didn't persevere with it. With Another World and Prince of Persia, I did. With Flashback, I did not. What's a good version?
Well,
I think
I tell you how much I persevered with Flashback. The first copy I got of it. So obviously, you know, being an Amiga user, was a bit of a BBS user and a mail trader as well. So like, you know, sending discs here, there, and everywhere in the post, and, you know, getting
nice.
parcels with, you know, new games and stuff in. I received a preview version of Flashback, so like it obviously been leaked, and one of the cracking groups had like put it out, and it was in French, right? So, but I still played it as far as I could until like the
Wicked.
game ran out. It wasn't complete, but I still, like, in French, and I couldn't. I mean, I was supposed to be doing GCSE French, but I didn't understand a damn thing. But I still
You
played.
thought,
the
you
game
know
to
what? That's
completion.
actually come in handy now. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Something really interesting here. Anime Otaku has actually done your wallpaper. So let's bring that up on screen. There you go. Wow. Anime
Oh, look at
Otaku,
that.
you're on
Oh,
fire.
yeah.
So, guys, that will be available via update tool. I think Anime Otaku, let us know in chat, buddy. Is that's available via the Rannis Nice one, right? He's added your wallpapers to his repository, right? Or is it your own separate repository? But either way, we've got the Hoffman Mega Drive port of Metal Gear that was originally for the MSX, but then ported to the Amiga, and now it's been ported to the Mega Drive. And so the style that Anime Otaku does is really, really good. So he kind of has like a theme of the game on the right, then he has screenshots on the left, and the Mr. menu just kind of sits perfectly there in the middle. So yeah, that's banging, right? Anime Otaku, you work fast, you work good, and that is superb, man. Let's
Yeah, it's awesome.
let's give
Yeah. What I might do is if you don't mind, I'll include that in the archive when we release the game in a few days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll get that sent over to you, or Anime Otaku, feel free to send it to Hoffman yourself. Either way, I'll make sure I'll get that to you. So Anime, if you send me send me like the high quality version of this, and yeah, I'll get that over to I'll get that over to Hoffman straight away, man. And you know the thing is with Anime, he's a bit like you, where now that he's started on this, he's not going to stop. So chances are all your stuff is likely all your stuff is likely gonna get wallpapers now, because that's just how he rolls. Oh, I want to say hello to Ryan. Ryan's in chat. Ryan is awesome. Okay, so this is flashback, man. So talking about, right, playing stuff in French. So this was a common thing back then, right? So now we live in an era where we point the phone at things and it translates it. We can go to another country, and provided we've got data, right, we can hold the phone there and put it in conversation mode, and I'll speak in my, I don't know, half broken kind of ghetto Cockney English, and someone else will speak another language, and that damn phone will translate it. But understand, like, so I understand what Hoffman is saying here, because when it came to, it was more the consoles, especially the Super Nintendo. So when we got the Super Nintendo, we were buying Japanese games for it on import. Another one that I had was the PC Engine. All the games I was getting were Japanese games. So I was buying games based on what their front cover looked like. So it was like luck of the draw. Sometimes I'd get a text-heavy game, I couldn't play it. I remember on the Super Nintendo getting ActRaiser, the Japanese version, trying to play it, and yeah, oh man, the action part's wicked, loved it. Then it got to the strategy part, couldn't play it. One that we kind of did manage to get through to some extent was Legend of the Mystical Ninja. We had the Japanese version of that, and that was all right. But then the RPG kind of elements, you're just guessing stuff in menus. Another one was Sun 2, one of my favorite games on the PC Engine, and there's actually a translation out of that. So I played it again with the translation. I was like, so this is the item that I bought. This is like what it does. So, it's fantastic now what we've got. But at that time, during that era, during that age, if we got something, it could have been in whatever language, man. Swahili, Chinese, I don't know, whatever language you name it. We were like, yes, we'll take it. We'll pay you money for it. Just give it to us.
Like the MSX. So that I've got a real thing for the MSX because it's not super popular over in the UK. It is super popular in some other places that you wouldn't expect, like the Netherlands and Brazil and Spain. But it wasn't super popular in the UK. But a friend of mine, it's one of those things you touched on earlier, where back in those days there wasn't the internet. So what you would do is you would just meet people around your sort of age that were also into computers or video games or whatever. And yeah, one of the guys I met was a guy called Ian, and he had an MSX2, and I'd never seen this system before, never even heard of it. But he was one of those, he would buy like Konami cartridges on import. So sometimes like he'd buy a game and it'd be like a full RPG, all completely in Japanese. So it's completely unplayable. You're not using Google Translate. It's like 1988 or whatever. So that's kind of where my love of MSX comes from, is because I had someone else, I knew someone else that had one and had all of the games for it. And the thing that I loved about the MSX is that in terms of hardware, like if you look at a C64 game, like the scrolling was nice and smooth. I mean, the graphics were a little bit blocky. But on the MSX, generally the scrolling was pretty bad, and the sprites would flicker like mad. But the thing that they got right on that system, or at least Konami did predominantly, was that the gameplay was second to none. Like the games were just brilliant. They just felt brilliant to play. And I went through so many C64 and Amiga games that just never came close to how good those games felt to play. And that's even with terrible scrolling and terrible sprite flickering.
I get that, because I don't think I've got MSX on my Mister, but I did. So when it came out, when it got ported over to the Analog Pocket, I got like an early release from it from Boogerman, and I started playing it, and I did notice that. I was like, okay, so I noticed the scrolling thing straight away. It's almost like jerky. But the difference with the MSX that I personally found was that it felt closer to console games when it came to the refinement. So when it came to that finesse and that touch that it has, it's almost like the previous generation too. I don't know if you've tried the X68000 computer, but that's got a lot of the CPS2 stuff on there. And CPS1,
I've got one.
Oh, there you go, man. So, see, when you play stuff on that, like I love the Amiga, and obviously you love the Amiga as well. But when you play games on the Amiga, not a lot of them had that console feel to them. Where I felt when I
Yeah,
played stuff on the MSX, yeah,
let's just put it out there, right? Most of the games were rubbish, right?
yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean,
most of them were. They had their
there's no
good
two ways
games.
about it. Right?
We have the nostalgia, and this is why I really like Amiga Vision, because honestly, like the Amiga, I forgot a lot of the games that came with. I forgot a lot of the games that came with the Amiga. A lot of the games I played on the Amiga. So when I launched that Amiga Vision front end, I'm like, holy crap, I remember this game. And then I play it and I go, this game was rubbish, or it would be good. It would be good. Like level 1 would be good. You'd play level 2, and level 3 would be so bad. It would just put you off the rest of the game. And it wasn't like you want to continue or anything. You just wanna give up. It was just a damn bad design,
Yeah,
man. And I
think
feel gone.
I was just gonna say, like, I think the thing is that you know, when the Amiga was trying to do like arcade games or ports of arcade games, generally, so it's kind of it's a bit of a curse, right? Because you know, the people that were making these arcade ports for the Amiga are generally given like a very short time span and no budget, right? So most of them are basically it's just shovelware, right? Does the game work? Does it have all of the bits of the arcade original in it? Does it work? Yes. Is it good? No. But it's like the developers don't have a choice of that, right? They're doing a job and they've been given very little time to do it. But I think the thing is that with the Amigas, yeah, a lot of the games aren't very good. But what you do get is that kind of that left of field games, the completely new ideas. So like if you're looking for arcade stuff, like you're not really going to find good stuff there. There's a few bits and pieces here and there.
Rainbow
But if you
Islands.
go to
Rainbow
like,
Islands is banging on the Amiga. I've got
Rainbow
to throw
Islands
that
is
out
good on
there.
there.
Yeah.
Rodland on the Amiga has no business being as good as it is.
I mean, do you know what?
It's
Do you know what?
almost better than the arcade. It's weird.
People I know that play both games say the Amiga version is better. And to be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah,
when you play it, holy crap! It really Pang is really good on the Amiga as well, from what I remember. I have good memories of Pang.
But I mean, but the places where it really shines is those games that are like the games that just wouldn't work in an arcade, right? So games that need a mouse control. So things like someone's mentioned Lamatron. So again, Speedball 2 again, sort of arcadey, but when you get to like the slightly different edges of games, like there's a game that I really loved, which was Ports of Call. You've probably never played it, but it's like shipping simulator, right?
I hope
So you
it
have
has
to
a
run
good
like
attract mode, because we're gonna run it now. Ports of
but I love this game. And actually,
Ports
it's
of
kind
Call.
of
There you go.
yeah.
Right, guys. Hoffman's about to board the stream with some strategy game, but he is our guest, so we're rocking it.
But this game is like it is so good. Like if you give it the time and you give it the breathing space. You've never played it, Dave. It's brilliant. I love this game. It's so good. It's like peak Amiga, and this is the thing that I think really encapsulates what the Amiga is about. It's not the arcade games, right? Most of those are rubbish. It's these other games which are like on the fringes, that are different mechanics. Someone that's just said, well, this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, I absolutely love this game. You basically run a shipping company, but like there's other bits you have to do within that. Like when your ship gets to a destination, you have to basically steer it into the dock into the right place, or you can pay someone else to do it. It's basically Euro Truck Simulator before that even existed, like 30 years before, right? So
okay. Wow. And see, you're right, because on the Amiga, like some of my favorite games, right? Someone mentioned Populous was awesome. That was awesome. Power Monger was a game that I liked. I think it's probably the only time I played strategies, apart from when I played like Red Alert on like some of the earlier PC, well, later PC systems, but a lot earlier now. But another really good game and one of my favorite games. And to be honest, I've tried playing it after, and it's Syndicate. I've never found a good version of Syndicate since playing the Amiga version, or maybe there is, I've just not enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, Syndicate was one that kind of passed me by actually, but the apparently the PC versions, obviously you can run that on like faster PCs and it doesn't slow down. So,
I just like the Amiga version, man. I don't know. You know what it is? It's like that nostalgia that's attached with it now. The Amiga version, it's wicked, but it's just one of those things where I do like a lot of handheld gaming, man. I spend so much time in front of PCs for my day job, then all the YouTube stuff that I do, that when it comes time to playing, I can't be bothered sitting in front of a PC. So I want to lie down in bed and play a Steam Deck. Oh, we're gonna go Pearl Harbor. Just it's one I recognise, right? Okay, yep. Okay, I can see why you like this. This is a kind of game that, like, you would give this a chance back then. It's difficult for us to play these games now. Like now when I play a game, it's very rare that I'm gonna get into something like this. But around the time, you know, if your friend was like, "You need to try this game,"
I tell you why that is though, right? Because back in the day, if you know, well, as a pirate, trying to play a game like this is very difficult because you don't have the manual, right? But obviously, if you bought a game like this, because you know, my dad bought this because you know, he's a seafaring chap, so he bought this. So yeah, he had the manual. So like, I you know, I remember when I used to get C64 games, the tape inlay would tell you how to play it. So if it was a particularly complicated game, yeah, all right, you know, you can get on with it. But um, this is one where, you know, if obviously it's a complicated game, you can't just like just dive in there and just work out yourself. You needed the manual to like guide you how to play it. So that's kind of, I think that a part of that, I think that's part of the barrier for entry for a lot of people on retro games, right? And particularly these more complicated ones on the fringes, right? It's because maybe they're coming into it thinking, well, surely it's just a platform game I can jump and run and shoot. But when you get to a game that's got like, you know, more complicated mechanics to it, like no one's going to look for the manual, are they? So it feels like a much more investment in terms of time, doesn't it?
You had to, yeah, you had to work stuff out yourself, man. I mean, there's stuff sometimes, like I'm looking at older games now, and now that there's guides on the internet, I was like, what? I could do this, and often it's something very, very simple, but where you don't know it, you don't figure it out. A question I'm going to ask you, right? Did this ever happen to you? So, you know, back in the day when you wanted cheats, right? So now cheats are like, get your credit card out, put the number in and buy some extra crap, right? But back then they were all printed in magazines and you were kind of looking forward to getting those. So did you ever get kicked out of a newsagent for looking at cheats too long because you were looking at the cheats and not buying the magazines? Because like I did. I just want to know, what are others out there like me that got kicked out?
Well, I didn't get kicked out, but both for my Commodore 64 and my Amiga, I had an action replay cartridge. So I don't know if you've ever used one of those.
On the Super Nintendo, yes, but not on a computer.
Yeah, so on the C64 and the Amiga, you could use it to a certain extent to like, you know, just wholesale copy software, but it had like a disassembler and you know, a machine code monitor and a memory editor. So if I got a game and I wanted to have infinite lives, I could use my action replay to find out where the lives value is and modify it and then find the code so you could basically just, it's like an all-in-one cheat solution. But there's so much other stuff that you could do with these action replay cartridges. So if you were like a game cracker on the Amiga or the 64, the action replay cartridge is effectively your Swiss Army knife. It'll get you into a game. It'll like show you all of its secrets and stuff. So yeah, that's, you know, I did used to have, back in the C64 days. Yeah, I did used to get like you know, copy of Zap 64 and put the cheat in. But yeah, after I got an action replay, that thing would basically you could just basically cheat with it anyway. So
wow, really interesting there. Ryan here says, I learned to code with the action replay, gave me my career. So there you go, someone actually got a job from Yeah, messing about with the action replay. So you've spoken a lot about computers. Did you have any consoles as kid, or it seems like you were more of a computer guy. And it looks like that's paid off because you definitely learn a lot more when you're dealing with computers. But did you have a console? Did you have any consoles?
Yeah, so kind of growing up, not really. I had a C64, then I had an Amiga. Um, the first console that I bought for myself was actually a PlayStation 1. I had friends with I had a friend with a Mega Drive and a SNES. And my friend also had the I think it was called the Super Magic Card. I don't know if you saw that. You
Rings
know
a
the
bell. Was it for the Super Nintendo? The disc drive that goes
yeah
on top of the floppies.
the big disk
Yeah,
drive. So
my,
like
my
you would
mate had that,
download
man. It
it would
was
download
wicked.
games from a bulletin board system and then
Oh
put them
no,
on floppy disk and
my,
then load them in.
my mate used to buy them, man. We weren't that advanced. So he bought pretty much every game out there. And this is where we played Sunset Riders, NBA Jam. We had obviously our cartridges ourselves. I had cartridges. But this guy, ever since I was a kid, the first thing he did was, what computer's coming out? How do you crack it? Where's the piracy? And he was the mega
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He kept going up until I think the Xbox 360. And I think the generation after that, piracy just kind of stopped.
But yeah, no, I mean, no, I was kind of the same, really. Like, during the Xbox, basically from Xbox to PS3, the only reason why I would buy a console was just so that I could jailbreak it and hack it. But the thing is you very quickly discover that if you don't pay for your games, you're not invested to play them, right? So I had an Xbox 360 with like a wallet full of DVDs. I'd never played anything, right? Because I wasn't I wasn't looking at those games. They were just oh, that's the new game. I'll grab it. I'll put it on for a couple of minutes. Okay. And it's not until you realize, well, actually, like if I buy this game, then maybe I might be a bit more invested into playing it. And also, you're going to make a purchasing choice at that point, right? So you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to spend however much it is to buy a game before I've actually looked into it and seen if it's the kind of game that I would want to play. I mean, there's always like a bit of an outlier. Like, I think my Xbox 360 had the DVD firmware hack on it. And I saw that Portal 2 was out and available for the Xbox 360. So yeah, I literally like the second it was out, I was like, oh, I'm downloading that and I'm playing it, and I played it to the end because it's Portal 2. But yeah, basically, an entire stack of games that I would have on my Xbox 360 that I just wouldn't play. But yeah, like nowadays I'll find a game that I want. Once I hear about a game that I want to play, I'm more than happy to pay for it because once you pay for it, you're invested to play it. So
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the same with modern games. I'm not buying too many. I think like recent games that I've bought, when we're talking new releases, maybe Resident Evil 4 remake. I bought Metroid Dread at launch when that was probably a couple of years ago. I bought Monster Hunter Wilds, man, but I just haven't actually played it, man. I used to play that a lot. So when it comes to modern games, what modern games you like? What's like the most recent game you bought, say on Steam or a console?
Oh, so like modern games, it's a hard sell on anything that's AAA pretty much because they want you to play it for 50, 60 hours. I ain't got that time,
Mm.
right? None of us got that time. So I'm much more into and also most of them are the same, right? They're just open world, I mean, I don't play any online games because I just when I've got a set amount of time that I want to play a game, I don't want to have to be there with someone else. I just, it's like you got some free time, you want to play a game, you want to play a game. Um, yeah, like I'll usually go for weird indie stuff, right? Stuff that it's pushing the envelope out, stuff that's like doing something different. So I'll give you an example. Like one of my favorite games of all time is the Stanley Parable. I don't know if you've played that.
That's a puzzle game. So I've got a friend that's really into like these puzzly games. So he plays stuff like The Witness, the
Now
Stanley Parable. Not me.
I don't think it's fair to call that a puzzle game. It's not
Okay.
really a puzzle game. It's something completely different. It's like Stanley Parable is it's like a 1 in a million game. Like you either love it or you hate it.
So what
It's
kind of
yeah,
genre is it? What you do in this game?
um uh experience it. That's not the best way I can
Okay.
say. It's a game where basically it's about choice, right? And there's a narrator, and you have choice, right? Do you want to go through the left door or the right door? And the narrator wants you to go one way, but then you have a choice of where you want to go. So it's about kind of discovering. There's like loads of layers to it. It's a crazy game. But yeah, it's just one of those, like, in terms of like games that is up there on a pedestal. But yeah, usually, like, in terms of games I usually play, it's usually stuff like weird indie stuff. I think the one that I've had the most fun with recently, there's what's the guy, Lucas Pope, who made Papers, Please. I don't know if you played that.
No,
That
haven't.
was really good. No, that was really good. And Return of the Obra Dinn, which is like a strange kind of sleuthy game. But yeah, that
Oh
was,
yeah, I've
you
seen
know,
that.
just
I like that. That's the one on the ship, right? With is it some murders are taking place? I think I bought that for
yeah,
the
yeah,
Switch
yeah.
actually. It was on sale for very, very cheap, so I grabbed it. But like most of the games, man, I'm like, yeah, look at my games collection. How many of them have I played? Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, come on, we've all got a steam pile of shame, haven't we?
I still
Right?
look at games,
Stuff we
man, and
bought and never played, right?
I keep buying them. I'm thinking about buying, like, RoboCop's gone cheap now, and I'm like, well, I like RoboCop. Shall I buy it? But I know I'm not gonna play it, so I don't know. I'm probably still gonna buy it anyway because I've seen it for like £6, and I feel like RoboCop deserves to be there, you know. And I
Yeah, I
did
wouldn't mind
borrow
playing
it
that.
from the internet to try it out when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, when it goes cheap on Steam, I'll buy it, you know, just for ease of use.
I actually know it's a retro gamer in the chats mentioned Astrobot. Actually, over Christmas, I bought that and played the crap out of it. It was amazing.
That
Um,
is. I've got that for. I haven't got PS5, but I've got it for the the PS4 VR. And yeah, that's a banging game, man.
yeah, yeah. Like the new one that came out at Christmas is just it's like a masterclass in how to make platforming games. It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and I've only heard good things. I think my VR, I need to play more of it. I've got the Meta Quest 3, and I do like it a lot. I just hate the fact that it's associated. It's kind of too heavily tied into Facebook. I wish if you could break away from that, and you can't at the moment. Hopefully in the future you can. You know, I did buy it with the hope that one day it can break free of those chains. But yeah, there is some really good stuff on there. I do like VR, but I feel like it's one of those things that you start playing it, and after like half hour, you think, oh man, I want to just veg out and relax and play games. I'm getting bloody tired now.
Yeah, I think yeah, I the first VR setup we got was PlayStation VR actually, and both me and my wife, well, she doesn't DJ anymore, but she used to be a DJ. That's kind of how we met. So when Beat Saber arrived on the PlayStation VR, I think it's probably actually the single game that both of us have probably clocked up over 1,000 hours on.
Wow.
But the good thing about that is that you know, you'll play when there's two of you, you'll put it into party mode and you'll just play one level each or a couple of levels each, maybe 3 levels each. So you do like 3, 5, 10, 15-minute stints, and then you're out of the VR, and then you pass it to someone else, and then they have a play. So but that's like in terms of VR games, like I played a bunch of them, a bunch of them really good, but Beat Saber is the one that, like, yeah, just absolutely smashed the crap out of it. I absolutely loved it. It's brilliant. If you've never played it and you're a DJ, like, you should
No,
definitely have a go.
I've played it, man, but yeah, it's very exhausting. That's up for the Meta Quest 3 as well, so that's a banging game. I mean, it's wicked. I've tried like some. I let my
What you need
kids.
to do is you need to find a friend to play it with, so you can have, like, you know, have alternate goes in it. You see?
Yeah, I get the only ones my kids, my boys, they're very active, man. They'll smash that, but they really like this game called Windlands. I don't know if you've tried that on VR. But man, it's like real life Spider-Man. You're kind of jumping around. You got this hook, but man, like that just makes me feel funny, man. It literally it makes like my orifice tight, man. Like I think I'm gonna fall, man. It drives me nuts. I feel sensations I should not be feeling with video games. But yeah, they love it, man.
I was just saying actually the second best, the Beat Saber's like in terms of in this house anyway, it's the first best VR game that you can play. The second best VR game I've ever played is Tetris Effect.
Yeah, that is
And
banging. I've
I
got
tell
that.
you,
Wicked.
and I tell you what, if you think you're good at Tetris, even if you're not good at Tetris, put yourself in Tetris Effect. Get yourself some nice closed-backed headphones, right? Really, really lock yourself inside the VR, right? I went from like a very good Tetris player to being insane within a couple of hours.
Wow. See,
The-
I like Tetris, like DMG, my favorite Game Boy, got me into Tetris, and that's the best puzzle game. And I do try. There's a Potris that's out. That's a good version of it. I'll always go back to DMG, but heck, man, the Tetris effect is amazing. Yeah, when I played that in VR, I was like, yeah, amazed, and I think that's the best way to experience it.
yeah, because it's the immersion part of it, right? So the thing about Tetris is there's this thing it's called a flow state that you get when you're playing games that there's like a mechanic to it. You yourself essentially switch off, and it's just it's all just muscle memory and like response, right? That's what they call a flow state, and that's what Tetris is like. It's like the king of flow state games. Like you just like when you're playing Tetris, like you're doing it, but you're not really thinking about it sometimes, right? So like Beat Saber's another example, right? That's also a flow state game. But the thing is when you play a game like Tetris, but then you put yourself in VR and then you lock in like a set of headphones, like it just increases that flow state and that automatic response like tenfold.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna have to give that a shot. So someone else, SmoMo, how you doing, SmoMo? SmoMo's mentioned that Super Hot VR. I don't know if you've tried that. That's really good as well. Have you tried Super Hot?
Yeah.
They only move when
that was one of the first ones we bought, like when it was available on the PSVR. So yeah, I absolutely love that. And Res Infinite, played that as well.
Res was good. I remember playing that on where did it come out originally? The Xbox 360. I think they had it with the Kinect, didn't they, as well? I know the Kinect fails, but Res was made for VR. You tried it on the Kinect, you tried it on something else, maybe the PS2, and it always felt like, yes, this game needs a VR adaptation. So yeah, that was banging. But I was going to say, is there anything you want to show the viewers? Anything that you think will be benefit? Let's say someone wants to get into like homebrew development. They've got a little bit of coding experience. What kind of tips would you give them? And if there's anything you want to show, you're welcome to share your screen. I'll change the display over to your screen.
Oh crikey!
Don't want to put you on the spot. If you haven't got anything, all good.
No. I just say like if it just try it out, man. Like this the hardest thing to get into programming is knowing a project to do. Like, what do you want to do? Like, so I could learn programming. I could learn all of these bits and pieces in terms of what's a parameter, what's a variable, what's a loop, all this other kind of all this stuff. But like, none of that really means anything unless you have an end goal. Like, what do you want to make, right? So, just if you want to make something, just do some research and just have a pop at it. Because the thing is, when you start, like, even if you're like, all right, I want to make a game, so where's a good place to start? Well, maybe if I just make a square bounce around in a room, like, how do I do that? You go and watch some things. And the very moment that you plug in some control and you start having a square bouncing around in a room, like the endorphin release from succeeding at that is it's immense, right? It's like, oh, wow, I've got this bouncing around. This is how this works. I understand how this works. And then it just snowballs after that. You're like, right. Well, okay, so I understand how that works. So if I wanted to do this, I could probably do this, or I can just go and look at this. And so that's just like, also Dave's got a really good idea. Is to just go to your local Amiga user group.
So Dave Repairs, is Dave Repairs someone that's big into Amiga then, right? I take it this is a friend of yours as well.
He runs a Southwest Amiga group. At least I think he does.
Wicked. Oh, actually, I think where did he comment? He commented somewhere. I think he commented on one of the tweets earlier, or my weekly news video saying, "Oh, I know Hoffman, small world," and it is a bloody small world, man. We just found out that me and Hoffman are the same age, but he's a little bit older than me.
Yeah, only by a few months, so it's fine.
Absolutely, but you're still older. That's what I'm playing
Yeah,
at.
yeah, I am. Yeah.
Ah, cool. Well, I'm kind of all right. I'm really happy with it. Unless there's anything you want to kind of add or anything you want to talk about.
No, unless there's any questions that anyone else has got, unless we've missed some, I don't know. Just throw it out to chat.
There you go, guys.
Let's I tell you what, Dave, let's have a pop at your Amiga core again. Let's see if we can get a demo running.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. We've got Happy Coding in here as well, by the way. Happy Coding is someone that codes new games for the Sega Spectrum. I think their most recent release is a version of Frogger for the ZX Spectrum. So Happy Coding.
I believe I saw Happy Coding ZX on a This Week in Retro not that long ago.
He has been on there. And another fun fact about Happy Coding is going back to Dave saying it's a small world. Happy Coding was actually a customer when I had the video game shop. So he watched my podcast with Ian Lee and he was like, I recognize that voice. And when you mentioned you had a shop, I was your customer. And so I was like, wow. And I even remember Happy Coding's real name. And I was like, is that you? And he was like, that's me. And small world, man. And I was like, what are you up to? Is like, I'm in Kazakhstan programming ZX Spectrum games. I said, yep, I could have guessed that. I couldn't have. Right. Okay. Let's
again. I have mad respect for anyone that decides that their weapon of choice would be the ZX Spectrum, because that's sheer brutality, right? So.
Well, yeah, he's got an itch.io page as well. So yeah, he's got stuff out there. We'll show you your itch.io page before we conclude as well. So right, that's running because
Sniper Mike's asked, will you be attending Kickstart in November? I don't know. I imagine so. I imagine so. Whatever happens with Kickstart, I don't know if there's a full Kickstart this year, but if there is, I'll be there. If it's a reduced event of any type, we'll probably be there. Yeah.
Perfect. Right.
It's an Amiga event in the UK, so I have to go. I'm sure it's contractual. Hang on. Happy Coding's got a very interesting question, right? And I really want to answer this. Do you think
before you answer it, let's run one demo. So we got some eye candy, so we're not looking at a menu. Then go ahead.
Let's go. A demo's 1K to 64K again.
Okay.
And you go to. Oh, it's not there. Okay, let's go back a page.
Okay.
Demos by title.
Demos by
title.
By title. Here we go. Sorry.
Go to E.
E for E's are good.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Eon.
Sorry. Oh, right. Yeah, I got it. Oh, this is a recent one, I think. Is this a recent one? Oh no, well, not.
Yeah, 2019.
Cool. That's recent when you're talking retro, aren't you? So here we go. Right. Yeah. Let me get around and reset this thing. Okay, we're good. So yeah, go ahead and answer Happy Coding's question, which I think is the one. Can you get something? Can you get Cocanoid or Seconoid, whatever it's called, working on a Specky? Is that the question?
Yeah, that was the question. So it's an interest. The answer's quite interesting. So if you play Seconoid on the Amiga, there are 3 ZX Spectrum Easter eggs hidden inside it, right? So you know how ZX Spectrum loads games off of cassette, right? So it's basically just an audio stream off of a cassette that will load into a ZX Spectrum. So in Seconoid, there are 3 hidden cassettes inside the game. They're not in the PC version. I added these into the Amiga version. So if you find one of these, you will basically hit the play button on this tape deck inside the game, and then your Amiga will start producing ZX Spectrum loading noises. Now, if you hook up your Amiga's audio output to a ZX Spectrum, you can load that actual. It's basically a ZX Spectrum tape that's hidden inside the game. So yeah, basically you can hook up your Amiga to a ZX Spectrum, and then you can load some Spectrum software from inside Seconoid into a ZX Spectrum. And there's 3 tapes in there. One of them's a music disc for a 48K Spectrum, so no AY chip. One of them is a 2-factor authentication process that opens up a section of the game that you can't open unless you've got a ZX Spectrum. And the third one is a demake of Seekanoid for the ZX Spectrum, hidden inside the Amiga version of Seekanoid. So yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's like Inception or something, right? That's nuts.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a version of the game for the ZX Spectrum hidden inside the Amiga version of the game.
That's crazy, man. So there you go. You've got. I feel like Happy Coding knew this. I felt like this was a question where he had the knowledge, and maybe he was testing you to see if you had it. And I'm pretty sure that you passed. Happy Coding, if you're still around, please confirm. We've got Electron Ash in the house as well. Yo, Ash, how you doing, man? Ash is, I don't know if you're familiar with Ash Hoffman, but he's awesome, man. Like, he does a lot of work. He's involved in a lot of projects. Very, very helpful guy, man. And anytime I've got any technical questions, this guy is there to answer. And yeah, good to hear from you, Ash. Hope you and the family are well. Okay, guys, have we got any questions? Have we got any final questions? We'll enjoy this demo. But if you've got any questions for Hoffman, chuck them at us. If not, then yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up the stream. By the way, this demo's wicked.
Which hardware tricks were used to help render flat shaded polygons in this demo? Electron Ash. There's actually, if you look online, you'll have to do a bit of digging. I don't have the links available, but they've done a full write-up on how the polygons in this work. Effectively, to push them as fast as they do on the Amiga, they're not calculated on the Amiga. So the polygons are kind of calculated off system and then put into a really very optimized data structure on the disk. So basically, all like when you see this section here with this moving scene in 3D, it's not the Amiga's not calculating all of those polygons. It is basically reading like how to render that frame off of the disk. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's an animation because there's a lot of work to get that data to actually render those frames, but so the 3D matrix stuff is effectively pre-calculated, so that's how that works. Phil AI, what's the next Metroid game in the pipeline for the NEO-GEO or NEO-GEO CD? There isn't anything in the pipeline as such. I did have a quick look at Rainbow Islands, but man, that thing is protected to the hilt. It's like Fort Knox. That arcade PCB is very hard. But actually, I'm working on porting something from the Amiga to the Mega Drive, but I'm not allowed to tell anyone what it is yet. So we have to leave
okay,
that
we look forward to that. Cool. All right, well, guys, let's call it a wrap. Hoffman, seriously, thank you. It's been enlightening. It's been super entertaining. And yeah, man, wicked. Thank you for hanging out on Saturday night.
We have to get you around for a mix sometime, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, wicked. Do you know what? Do you know what's really funny, right? I converted all my vinyl to like MP3s, and then I started mixing on an iPad, and I was like, wow, man, I've got no backache. But you know what? The old vinyl, man, it's banging. It's wicked. It's the nostalgia that's attached to it, isn't it?
Like I love mixing in any form, right? Whether it's Amigas, whether it's Tractor, whether it's Pioneer CDJs, whether it's vinyl. But there is definitely something to be said about the feel of using a pair of Technics in a mixer. There's nothing quite like it.
Absolutely. Well, wicked, man. Have a brilliant rest of the Saturday night, guys. Thank you everyone that tuned in, and yeah, I'll see you guys around, man. This is bye from Pixel Cherry Ninja, and Hoffman, you want to say bye to the peeps?
Laters.